Alright, this was the best trade of the week last week for me. This one was on the 15 minute. Although I didn't take this because just before this there were two 5-minute trades here that actually failed. If you take a quick look here, you can see there were some inverses here on the 5-minute that did fail. This one here and then this one here as well. We did keep coming down, and these were after sweeps of liquidity here. Although you could have arguably not taken either of these depending on how you felt about the price action. I personally didn't trade this week much at all because the price action was so poor. The open here was very choppy and we kind of ground to the downside here, which I never like to see before taking a trade. But in hindsight, this was definitely the trade of the week last week on the 15-minute here. I don't usually trade the 15-minute, so I didn't take this personally, but this was objectively for my model the best trade. So I'm going to walk you through it here. These are my rules. Very, very simple stuff. Literally as simple as you like. All I ever do is I wait for a sweep of sell side, any kind of sell side here, and then I target buy side always. And I target buy side using my model here, which I'll show you. So you can see this was the obvious low that we were looking for. Once you start to see the sell model, you can see we're consolidating here. We start to accelerate down. We come down and we sweep this area. And then once you hit an area like this, where you sweep some obvious lows, and then we came down about halfway down through this trend line-esque area here. Once you start to see a big reversal here, you could be looking for longs. My model for taking longs is a sweep of sell side, and then I'm looking for a 3-candle pattern V shape on a higher time frame like the 5 or the 15. The 15 was the one here, and then I'm just looking basically for us to come up and continue and reverse from this area. So if you have yourself a sweep of liquidity like this, you can see these lines here are where we swept those obvious lows to the left. And then we come down here, you can see we get this lovely 3-candle pattern V shape. If you don't know what a 3-candle pattern V shape is, it's very simply 3 candles like this. We create ourselves a fair value gap like this that you can basically use to take a trade. And then we come up after a sweep of liquidity and inverse this gap instantly after creating it, which is a really, really good reversal pattern in the market. Combined with the sweep of liquidity at all-time highs, taking longs with the sweep of liquidity and then the 3-candle pattern V shape on the 5-minute, you are probably going to get yourself a really nice trade. This one was on the 15. Like I said, I didn't take this personally because I didn't trade much last week because the price action's been so crap. But you can see here, 3-candle pattern V shape. 1, 2, 3, and then we instantly inverse back to the upside. You could have entered here and took this. My personal model is this, I will tell you now. I enter on the inverse, very simple stuff. So I'd enter once we close back above like this, targeting a 1-for-1. I have my stop loss as a manual stop about halfway between the gap and the low, so somewhere around here. I'm basically always sized for about $200 risk. So I think this would have been about 2 or 3 micros on this trade. And you can see here I just go for a 1-for-1. So what I do is we go up and hit the 1-for-1 instantly on this 15-minute candle. I'd scale half my position here and go break even. So I take $100 off, go break even on the rest, and then I just leave runners. Probably would have left 2 runners on this one because I would have had high confidence if I was trading much last week that this would have gone. And then you can see here, this basically went all the way up for about a 4-hour or so before you would have had to close for prop firm rules. For me, it would have been about 9 PM, as you can see here. For US people, it's like, what is it, 4:15 or 4:30 that most prop firms close out. But for me, obviously being on UK time, New York Open for me is 2:30, and then we come down here in the PM for people. But this will probably be just after lunch for US people. We came back up here. This was a good trade in the end, as you can see. Could have taken off here and then taken maybe some more off at like 3R or something, then closed the rest at the end of the day where you had to close the rest of your position. Probably a minute maybe $500 per account for $200 risk on this if you would have taken this. Like I said, I personally didn't trade much last week because price action was so poo-poo caca. But overall, a pretty reasonable trade, that one. The 15-minute here hasn't really given much opportunities here. As you can see, there was potentially a trade in and around this area here that would have worked as well. This was a PM trade, an Asia session trade. I don't trade Asia because I am from the UK. That's when I'm asleep usually. But you can see here on the 5-minute, the problem recently is that we've had really, really poor price action. There is a trade here that I alerted in the private Discord. If you want to get alerts for all my trades, you can get them down below in the description, by the way. This is a trade that I alerted in my Discord. That was a winner. You can see here we sweep the low, 3-candle pattern inverse. Let's bring my rules up again. They're over here, as you can see, for your viewing pleasure. We sweep the low, really obvious low, 3-candle pattern inverse. Really like the momentum on this one. Look how big this candle is over the gap. As you can see, this would have gone for a 1-for-1. at which I scaled half and then got break-evened on the rest. And then you can see we chopped for a while, came down, came back up, and then basically messed around a bunch more. And then eventually we went up and pumped, as you can see. But overall, that was one of the only trades that I alerted last week because price action was so poor, as you can see. I'm just looking here to see really if there was anything else. There were some 3 candle pattern V-shapes on the 5 minute without sweeps, but I would never really take these. I mean, this one here obviously worked because it was just basic. This is just, as people would say in the business, a pattern trade where there's no real good context. You're just in an uptrend. You know, we come down here, we hold this 5 minute to the left. There's no sweep of liquidity here though, but you can see this one would have worked to the upside here, like this. If you're really confident, or if you're want to be a bit more risk on, then you can take these kinds of plays, and sometimes they do work, but the win rate is a lot lower. I've got an 80% win rate over the past year, and about 100k of payouts last year from prop firms. And the reason is because I'm very selective now with the kinds of trades that I take. And, you know, you might think that you're going faster by taking more trades, but really you're probably just taking longer to get to payouts because you are just taking low quality trades and you're losing a lot more than you probably should be if you were just waiting for quality setups, which is something I learned the hard way just like everyone else. When you first start trading, you want to take 50,000 setups a day and you just want to like catch every little move in the market like this, and then you catch this whole move and then this whole move, and then you'll get payouts like millions and millions of pounds. But realistically, it's more likely that you're just holding yourself back from actually being pretty profitable, because in reality you're just basically, you know, borderline gambling by taking like 10 setups a day. And that's not how I trade anymore. I'm much more selective. This is why I basically just trade the 5 minute, because it weeds out a lot of those crap trades that you take on the 1 minute, 2 minute, 30 second when you're desperate to get into the markets at open and you're trying to take those 30-second inversions. And obviously all of these things can work. As I said, I'm not saying that they can't. What I'm saying is that it's highly likely that you'll take a lot more losses doing that, and you may slow down your progress, which is something that I learned. And now, like I said, I just trade the 5 minute, and I really just try and be a lot more selective with my trades. There was a trade here that I took that was actually a scale half break even as well. You can see here, this was actually last week on Monday. This is the week before now. Time really is flying at the minute. We haven't had many good setups recently, because if you look, I mean, we're basically just kind of grinding to the upside with no real good entries across the board. But anyway, let's go find that trade that I was just talking about. I think I've just scrolled past it. Here we go. I alerted this one as well in the private Discord. You can see really obvious swing low. 3 candle pattern V-shape on the 5 minute. I'm never not going to take this with this huge candle. This is like a 50, 60 point candle here. As you can see, I've been a bit tighter recently with my stop losses and my break evens, because obviously prices at all-time highs and it's been a bit rubbish in terms of action itself. So I had my stop loss a bit closer in, somewhere like in this region here in terms of sizing. You can see this one was pretty much a 1R, scale half and break even as well. Made $100 and then got break even. You could have actually held this through all this chop if you wanted. You could have probably got a 3 or a 4R out of this, because as you can see, this 5 minute gap held and then continued upwards. Good trade, but another scale half break even for me. I think there was an actual day back here where there was quite a few good trades, but it actually, as it turned out, basically a lot of these 5 minute gaps ended up failing on this particular day. I think it might have been this one. I think there was this trade here, but I didn't take this because we ran into this 5 minute above, and then you can see you could have taken maybe this upper 5 minute as the entry requirement if you were really confident of us going up. You could see this one probably would have worked for a 1-to-1, as you can see there. There's lots of 5 minute gaps here that you could take. I found the 5 minute recently has been the deciding factor really in terms of which direction we're going in the market. And these 5 minute gaps, they very often hold from what I've seen, which is why I've been trading the 5 minute a lot more. Because in reality, once you combine them with a sweep, they do tend to be a lot more high probability, at least in my opinion. You can see here, there's nothing really here, no sweeps and inversions to take. Like I said, guys, price action has not been ideal recently, I cannot lie. It's been pretty rubbish across the board, really. You can see here there's not really that many things that we can take here or talk about. There was this really big sweep all the way down through all of this liquidity, all the way down to here. And then a crazy big inversion here. This one wasn't a 3 a 3 candle pattern V-shape. It was a 4 candle pattern, as you can see. I didn't take this because it was getting on too late in the day. You can see this would have just eventually stopped out for a break even probably, because I would have had to close for prop firm rules. This was a pretty crazy dump though. You don't really want to be taking trades after such a massive, incredible impulse down like this. This was like 500 points drop in a day. So you have to be careful with these kinds of scenarios as well. Just use a bit of intuition, a little bit of brain power, and just go, maybe if the market's knifing down 50 points every candle, taking the first inversion without structure might be a bad idea. Something to consider. There was a trade here as well. This was another one that I alerted in the private Discord. You can see here, sweep. We've got a decent inversion here. Took this with a few accounts because it wasn't a 3 candle pattern V-shape. But as you can see, this one worked as well. Just missed the high and then came back down for break even. So that was a scale half break even trade for me as well. But as you can see, recently price action in general has not been good. I know a lot of ICT traders that have been struggling not only to find trades but actually to be profitable, because really we've just been grinding straight up here. And anyone who just bought like a micro 2 weeks ago on their live account and held it has probably made like $1,000 or $2,000, whereas everyone else has probably been struggling on prop firms because obviously you have to close your trades every day. But overall, guys, this is it. This is my model. I have been getting winning trades. Even in the bad conditions recently, there have been winning trades, as I've just shown you. A bit slower recently because we are at all-time highs, which means it's more difficult to get trades for everybody. But I'm staying patient and confident that once we drop away from all-time highs, as we eventually will, probably in the next few weeks, we will get more and more trades again. As we come back, I'm always targeting all-time highs because I'm a permabull. Longs have an 80% win rate for me, so I'm not interested in introducing shorts, especially at all-time highs, where the draw is always going to be more all-time highs. But anyways, if you got any value out of this, please do let me know in the comments down below. Join the free Discord. Go in the description, join the free Discord, because you will get access to my trade recap, so you can see all the trades that I've taken, all the trades that I've alerted. And if you do want alerts and actual signals for my trades, you can get them in the premium WAP in the description as well. Sign up and join the Discord. I think it's like $30 a month at the minute. I'm probably going to raise the prices soon. And basically, it just means that I'll alert all the trades I'm considering taking in there, so you can see the kinds of trades that I like to take in real time. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.